Hi, Ben. Thanks for coming. Thanks for joining us here at Wi-Fi-milk.com, the podcast, a place where young entrepreneurs get inspired by people like you who don't just talk about their dreams and aspirations, but actually do and take action. So, today we'll talk about your entrepreneurial experience. You told me off record you started your first company when you were 16. And so you've started many other ventures, and now you're with Shareity. And so can you tell us more about your background in entrepreneurship and why and how did Shareity start?
Yeah, so like I said, I think I've always been an entrepreneur. It's I think recently Elon Musk had a pretty good quote about this, and it was like giving somebody some type of like what kind of motivation would you give an entrepreneur, and he pretty much said, if you need motivation, you're not an entrepreneur, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like it's like entrepreneurs kind of have their own drive and their own thing going on, and in the face of adversity or whatever they're doing, it's always that internal drive that just keeps you going, keeps you spinning, keeps you wanting more, right?
Yeah.
And it probably has a lot to do with that goal and that vision that we see as entrepreneurs. And that's kind of that's the case with me with Shareity. I did start off with working a lot with my hands and doing landscape construction and putting myself through college, with civil engineering and architecture, and getting into property development and stuff. And but I've really found a niche with Shareity, with kind of this itch that I had to change the world in a better way of making things happen, which is the share care economy.
Okay. Can you tell us more about your first business you started? What was it? What was it about?
Yeah, my first business was landscaping. It was
Okay.
like it kind of started off with just like mowing lawns. I got like an old beat up pickup truck, and when I was probably 15 or so, and fixed it up. And I think my father got it from his boss for like $300 or something, and I fixed it up and painted it and put all new tires and everything on it, and I actually ended up selling it for like $4,000 or something afterwards.
Wow.
And I bought more vehicles and did all that. I was always mechanically inclined.
Okay.
But yeah, I got like a little lawnmower, and I started mowing lawns, and one thing led to another, and I kept on growing that side of the business, doing like landscaping, trimming bushes, and then I got into more construction stuff, and then I started buying bigger equipment like
Okay.
excavators and backhoes and dump trucks and all that kind of stuff. So
Okay. So construction, like not like real estate as like construction, right?
there's more landscape construction. So the
Okay.
outdoor, yard, landscape, patios, walkways, trees, shrubs, lawn installations, stuff like that.
And you still doing that or not? You're now just
No,
focused on.
I do it like for fun,
Okay.
like around my house.
Yeah.
But and I might help out somebody with something, but yeah, I don't, my main focus right now is on
Charity.
Shareity, my
Cool.
company.
Cool. And talking about charity, how did you decide to get into such a competitive space? Because you have competitors, like maybe not direct competitors, but they're still competitors. I mean, Facebook, Twitter, and they're the biggest and largest advertising companies in the world. And you're kind of taking customers from them away. Why did you decide to get into such a competitive space?
Well, I don't think it's about taking away their customers. I think it's about giving people a better way to express themselves, and being able to monetize their influence like instantly online. If you think about what Facebook is doing, and this is where it starts. It starts with a movement, right? And it starts with a spark, and then that generates into a movement. It generates into some kind of like revolution. And I see this whole revolution of taking your social influence back. And for years, I look at like I hated Facebook, I hated Instagram and Twitter and all these platforms and stuff. I was never on them,
Mm-hmm.
but I see people just wasting their time on them. And it's funny because it's like, well, is Instagram paying you to be on there? No. I mean, there is a value to the platform, right? We're connecting with people.
Yeah.
But, obviously you're how they're making money, right? And they're making billions of dollars a year off of you.
Your data.
So
Yeah.
for me, I don't feel like that's right. And, I wanted to give a platform and create this people first platform, people centric platform that takes marketing dollars from brands and directs them to causes on your behalf. So when you take action, brands take action, right? So,
Yeah.
and that's what we call that share care economy. And I just saw it as a better way. I didn't see it as being like, hey, I'm going to go up against Facebook or Twitter or any of these platforms. I saw that there was a need for this in society, and it fit perfectly with the way that brands want to market and advertise. It fit perfectly with the way that people want to value their social influence online. Somebody's working on, doing Twitter posts or Instagram posts or Snapchat or TikTok or any of these platforms. The endorphin rush that they get from getting likes and DMs and all these things is, that's a real thing, right? And it makes them feel good about it, but it also, puts money in the bank for those social media platforms.
Mhm.
So it's like, why don't we do that for causes around the world? And that's kind of where the idea was born from.
Yeah. And for those people who don't know what charity is, can you explain, what it is
Sure.
exactly? Yeah.
So Shareity is sharing charity. If you think of us as like, if you want to think of us as like a TikTok for charity, right? So people do fun actions with their smartphones. Brands donate money for every action done to causes to help find solutions. So we call that the share care economy. You've heard of the sharing economy. Well, it's time for people to actually participate and help give back. So it's kind of a new way of, it's like volunteerism meets slacktivism, right? So if you want to volunteer for something, you take a picture or a photo or something, brand donates money to a cause on your behalf. It's a really simple to use platform that's kind of based on what you do every day anyway, right? So why not monetize it for something good?
Cool. Cool. And it's challenges. So imagine TikTok's challenges. So that
Mm-hmm.
and making good with it. Yeah. So
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah, I
And
mean, these actions can be anything. They can be, like ice bucket challenge. They could be dance challenge. They could be picking up trash on the beach. They could be, holding a door for somebody in an act of kindness. Whatever you want that challenge to be. We have a new one coming up that's going to be, like roaring to save the lions of Africa, right? It'd be really cool to get like an artist like Katy Perry, who has that song, Roar, right? To get up on stage and do something, and then people participate in this and they all roar, right? So it's kind of, yeah, that's, I think there's a lot of fun aspects to it that can be blended into like live events through text. There's no app to download, so it's really simple and easy for people to get to our platform and to use it, and it's all linked to your phone number. So you're essentially tracking all the influence right off your phone number and able to monetize it multiple generations through sharing networks all around the world. So you don't have to be limited to just hashtags on specific platforms.
cool. And well, yeah, now that you just mentioned that, what kind of data you collect?
So we're a GDPR compliant platform. So people elect to take action, and when people take action, brands take action. So they're electing to utilize their pictures and videos to monetize it and have brands, without opening their wallets, donate to causes they care about. In the back end, every user is able to track their social influence. So they can track it multiple generations all around the world, how many likes and shares, how many people engaged in my challenge. So when I share with you, you share with your friends, they share with their friends, multiple platforms everywhere in the world. We're able to track it right back to one data point. So it's like blockchain for social influence. Um, so it's really impactful for the people, but it's also very important for the brands and causes as well, because they're able to see the influence that you have and push rewards to you. So maybe you get a free cup of coffee at a Starbucks. Maybe you get, you the most influential person, you get like a, $500 Amazon gift card or something, right? So like these are all the things that are kind of built into the platform.
Wow. Yeah, I like the part where users get paid in some way. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of cool.
Yeah,
And
and with Shareity, they also get like a 20% revenue share off the platform as well too. So when we have extra money at the end of the year or whatever, it gets divided out with everybody based on social influence and network effect users.
wow. Yeah, that
It's
it's
almost
a
like you're buying stock in your own social influence, essentially.
it's like that
Online.
app. There's an app that pays you for walking, I think. I forgot what's the name of it, but yeah, it's kind of the same. You do stuff and you get paid. And yeah, so how was the process of building the company? How did you put a team together?
Well, I think it started with an idea, right? And
Okay.
then it kind of went into like a lot of testing. We spent years going back and forth on like patents. We have IP pending on all the technology. Um, and, then we started experimenting with platforms and going to events until we got it right. And, do we have it right now? Probably not. Still, it's going to change, right? But I think that, you just kind of keep iterating and you keep generating more ideas on what people want to see, and you take the feedback from people and you try to make it into something that everybody understands. And with that, obviously, you're putting the right people in your team too. And sometimes they might not be the right people, and sometimes the right people might be the people that you think are the wrong people, right? Because maybe they disagree with you or
Hmm.
they argue with you. But I think that nobody can tell you the right way of doing things, but you just got to start doing something.
Yeah.
You got to start moving, and then you got to kind of go with your gut of whatever feels right.
Hmm.
And I'm not, by any means saying that like what I'm doing is, you know, like, I mean, I think it's groundbreaking. I think it's revolutionary, but we're not at the point of that everybody even knows us like a Facebook or a Snapchat or an Instagram yet. Hopefully we get there someday, but I've made a lot of mistakes. We could have partnered with a couple companies that we would be worth, at least, $100 million right now. But I decided not to, and I decided to keep the company people centric instead of, essentially turning it into something that I didn't believe in.
Okay.
So yeah, you got to make a lot of decisions along the way, and I think that the best you can do is just go with your gut and what feels
Mhm.
right at that time.
Yeah, because I feel like a lot of people don't start stuff or don't do stuff because they're afraid of failing, and so like
Yeah.
yeah, it's all about starting. And even though you don't have a finished product, or yeah, yeah, you should just start
I
if
mean,
if you believe in it, right? That's key. Yeah.
yeah, you're never going to get over the fear of failing. I mean, that keeps me awake at night.
Yeah.
I worry about, not having, you know, I worry about the generation, my kids, and, my screwing everything up for them. And, if this doesn't take off or whatever happens, I'm always thinking about those things. It's never going to go away, but you got to take chances. I mean, we're here one time, right?
Yeah.
So, and you gotta do something with it, right? You're gonna sit on the couch, or are you gonna actually try to make something work? And if it doesn't work, I mean, failing, the fear is never gonna be gone. The fear of failure is never gonna be gone, right? What's going to change though is the way that you think about your failures.
Hmm.
And the way I think about them is that it's this ongoing like journey, right? And these are just milestones, right? They're not failures. They're not like, hey, I failed, I'm done. It's like, let's pivot or let's do something different here, right?
Hmm.
I never look at it as an end all. When you have the wrong mindset if you're looking at it as failure as an end all, like that's it, I failed, I'm done, right? And I'm out of the game. You're never out of the game.
Yeah. Wow. That was good. And so you started your first companies. Wait, did you start charity alone or with
Yeah.
co-founders? Okay.
Yeah, I started alone.
Yeah. So what are, pros and cons of it?
It's lonely.
Mm.
It's a, you know I'm a deep thinker, so I think a lot about, where this life is going, and the great unknowns, and the black holes of existence and all this stuff. And I get deep into, like quantum worlds, and even the fact that this could be a digital existence, and all that, and all the stuff that kind of wraps up into it, right? Like what is real and what isn't. um but the bottom line is that we're born alone, we're going to die alone, right? And the entire time we're searching for connection, and the only thing we have is like here and now. And a lot of people talk about this, You go to like the greatest and most insightful like motivational speakers and leaders in the world talk about this. It's very hard to do. And when you're by yourself, you're trapped with your feelings and your thoughts. And whether they're positive or negative, it's going to influence everything that you do. So I'd say, starting alone is difficult because you're trapped with your feelings and thoughts. If you have somebody else with you, like a co-founder or somebody else, it makes it so much easier because you have that person to keep you going.
Yeah.
And no matter what you think that takes from you, even if they argue with you, you guys don't get along or whatever, it feels like you're in it together, right? Versus just the analogy I kind of give is like just being in space, right? Imagine just black all around you. It doesn't matter which direction you go, right? You just keep going. Like you could literally just keep going forever in one direction. You could turn around and go this way and then turn around and go this way, and that's it. And then eventually you die, right? That other person kind of gives you that like perspective. At least it's like here and it's me with this other person out in space, and like, it's okay, now we're going together, right? Instead of just this empty blackness.
Wow.
This is probably too much for you, but you get,
Yeah, that
you get
was
the idea.
pretty
Like
deep. Yeah.
it's it's a hard grind alone. I don't recommend it. I would, if I could have done it again, I probably would have picked up a co-founder earlier.
At what point? At the beginning? The very first? Yeah.
Yeah,
Or
at the beginning, because as I'm going through it, it's tough to keep going. It's tough to keep the motivation going. And if I found the right person who was just upbeat and positive, and as much negative as you dish out, and I would say, to put this a different way, I would say that I'm not alone because I have family and I have friends, right?
yeah.
And I do try talking about them, but a lot of times they want to listen. Like my wife is my life partner, right? She is, she's amazing. She's like my rock, and she really stands by me with a lot of things. So in a way, she is a co-founder in this, except she doesn't want to listen to me all the time, right? Co-founders are like in it as much as you are, right? Family members are only like how much they can take of you talking about this, right? I'm done talking about the share care economy. I'm done talking about Shareity. It's enough. Let's eat dinner, right?
Yeah.
Type of thing. So, but I really think it does. It comes down to having that person with you, and as much as you think you might be giving up the company or whatever, and you might think that, well, we're almost there. We're so close to launching this product. It's just 10 more days and we'll be there. It's probably never the case, right? You're always, as an entrepreneur, you're more optimistic than most people to begin with. Otherwise, you wouldn't be doing it. Yeah. And we always kind of like overshoot the runway when we think about those things, right? Like, oh, by next year we'll be, the Twitter or the Facebook of the world, and I don't need a co-founder. I don't need this person. And that's kind of been my mentality. And we're not there yet. And it's been a while. So, maybe a co-founder who had different abilities, steers it in a little bit different direction, takes maybe I would have taken a little different risks than I did on my own. So I'd recommend a co-founder as early as possible. Or but the right one, the one who sees the passion. It's not something that you can just pick, right? Because you have to worry about control of the company and all these things when you start getting co-founders and partners on board. Yeah. If it's your idea, always maintain control of it so you can get rid of them at any time if they don't work out, right?
Yeah.
So your idea, you want to start this, I'll give you 25% of the company or something, your co-founder, right? Something along those lines. You vest it over a certain amount of years so that you always have kind of maintain that control, but then that person's going to be just as kind of in it as you are, right? And, when I was doing like large loans at banks at like in my early 20s, like $1 million loans at banks, like I walk in and they're like, who are you? Like they're expecting somebody with gray hair, right?
Yeah.
I mean, even older than I am now, going in there and getting the types of loans I was getting. But, you set the track record with people, and they know you fulfill on your promises.